Hi, my name is Zaak Kerstetter with KMG Academy in Boulder, Colorado, and today I'd like to take a look at how to build your own noise sweeps or risers from scratch. So a riser is a sound you're going to hear in a lot of different kinds of electronic music that's basically going to allow you to transition from one section of your song into another, usually the build into the drop, because it's going to create tension within your arrangement. So a riser usually is made by generating a white noise signal and then kind of moving a filter upwards as it plays. And it sounds a little like this. You've probably heard that a million times in a million different electronic music songs. So let's take a look at how you can not only build your own from scratch, but you can also start customizing it to make it sound a little more interesting and a little more unique than just a generic noise sweep. So we're going to be using the analog synthesizer inside Live for this. However, you can use any synthesizer you want as long as it has a noise oscillator, and most synthesizers do. So let's take analog, put this on this MIDI track here. Within analog, there are three different oscillators. There's oscillator 1, oscillator 2, and then in our situation, we have oscillator 3, which is a noise oscillator. So we can turn off oscillator 1, turn off oscillator 2, leave the noise oscillator on. Now when I play a MIDI note, it's just going to generate white noise, which is what we want. Within that, we do a volume control. We have a filter control here, which will choose which filter it's going to. We're going to keep this set to F1 because we're going to send it to filter 1. And then we have a color control, which was going to emphasize or de-emphasize different frequencies. So if we turn this down, we're going to have more low frequencies. If we turn up, we're going to get more high frequencies. It acts kind of like a filter as well. So we have that as our basis. And then within this track, we're going to make a clip. And we're going to plug in a 1-bar MIDI note. Doesn't matter what note it is because white noise is atonal. So I can play a low note or I can play a high note. It all sounds the same. Doesn't matter where you put this. Then what we're going to do is we're going to go in here to our filter, and we're going to use this filter and move this up and down as the white noise is playing. Let's go ahead and play it. And turn it down a little bit. Like that. So we're going to use this filter frequency to create our transition over our rising sound. So we're going to right click on this and we're going to hit show automation. That's going to take us within our clip, and we're going to see where I have analog selected here, and then filter 1 frequency as our envelope control. I'm going to double click on this area here to create breakpoints, and then have this kind of filter from low to high. So now as this is playing, it's going to start low and then move up, creating our sweeping motion. From here, if I wanted to, I could also turn up the resonance a little bit. This is going to add a little bit of a spike in volume wherever that filter frequency is, which makes it sound a little bit more sweepy. A little more. Let's try here. Like that. Another thing I would do if you're using analog, but not so much if you're using other synthesizers, is while you have your filter selected, this middle area here will allow you to control different aspects of your filter. Right now we have a frequency mod, and by default, the envelope is turned on. So we're going to set this to 0 by double clicking on it, so that way we don't have any filter envelopes because we don't necessarily need those. We can also, if we wanted to, automate the color a little bit. So that will transition a little bit up as well as the filter frequency. Something like that. That's the basics. That's all you really need to get started building your own noise sweeps or risers. However, there's tons of layers of customization we can do from here. But the basics are always going to be the same. White noise or some kind of variation on white noise, filter moving up, that's pretty much it. So if I wanted to, different kinds of effects I might want to toss on here. Reverb can work pretty well to give it like a little bit of atmosphere. It also makes it kind of tail off a little bit, so like it sweeps up and then kind of like fades out, which can be nice. Sometimes you don't want that, sometimes you do. If you do want that, reverb's a great option. We could also try some distortion. Let's try the overdrive. To make it sound a little more gritty if we want to. But there's no right or wrong way to start adding effects here. Because it's just white noise, you can really go crazy with it and get really creative. Another one of my favorite options when it comes to customizing a noise sweep is going to be the resonators. The resonators are going to take an incoming sound and it's going to layer harmonic frequencies on top of it, which can be really, really useful. So the resonators have a bunch of really awesome presets. We're gonna try some of these out. Let's take, say, Moscow, for example. And we'll toss this right here. So now this is what our noise sweep sounds like going through the Moscow preset of the resonator. Sounds totally different. It sounds pretty cool. Let's try Tokyo and see how that sounds. Whoever made these presets for the resonator did an awesome job. I love them. Let's try Brooklyn. Super cool. If you want to, you could make your own resonator patches from scratch. Basically, you can set a note here and then set up other notes based off of that note. And then start customizing it from there if you want to. Super fun device. I don't really get an opportunity to use resonators a lot, except in situations like this. It works great on these kind of atonal sounds, like a noise sweep. But from there, you can really go crazy with it. You can stack a bunch of effects on it. You don't have to stack a bunch of effects on it. It's one of the things I really listen for when I listen to a lot of music now is things like noise sweeps, things like risers, things like falls, little kind of detail sounds. If somebody's put in the effort to make them sound really interesting and really unique, to me, that's a sign of somebody who really cares about their music. So it's something I'll pay attention for a lot. And if I hear just kind of really generic white noise kind of moving around in the background for transitions or for builds, I tend to lose interest a little bit as a listener. So don't forget, all the little details of your song are all really important. So make sure you put some time, put some effort into it. A lot of people will just go to their sample library, grab a riser sample, toss it in, call it a day. I definitely recommend building your own. See what you can add, see what you can change that makes it a little more yours, and they're really easy to make. Just a noise oscillator with a little bit of filter motion combined with whatever effects you want, and it works great. So try it out, have some fun with it. Let me know how it goes. I'd love to hear if this works for you or not. And as always, keep an eye out for more videos coming from KMG. Thanks for watching.